Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, good.
Doing
How
so
are you?
good. I'm doing well. So to start, Katie, how was it? When I talked to Daniel, he said a lot of what he wanted to do with these was have women at the center of a martial arts film because most of the time it was male driven. How was it for you to kind of take on a role like that after, you've been a superhero, you've kind of gotten to be that like strong woman, but like it's different with a martial arts film, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. And I think, the having this movie is like it's about the fights, which is really cool. And that you get to really have a lot of time and focus to make sure the fights are badass. And then, one of my favorite things was exploring. I haven't really had any sibling dynamics in any of like my film or TV work. And so it was really fun to play that like with my little brother. And I feel like, Leo and I really got to connect and spend a lot of time together out in Thailand too. So it's like, oh, he is my little brother. And I think the character dynamic of them two is really what drives, the film. And so it gives it a lot of heart with it being a martial arts film, but still some really great character stuff and family with their dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Daniel also talked about the movies, so or the family dynamic in these movies that he wanted to kind of bring to life. And I was gonna say, Leo, on the flip of that, you get to kind of be the like supportive little brother versus and like I'm going to kick some ass martial artist as these movies typically kind of fall to. How was that for you? Did it kind of take the pressure off because you're like, I get to be that brother figure?
Yeah, I appreciate that you're talking about that because it's a more realistic version of what a family dynamic is with sort of an abusive a parent in that way. It is kind of typical. You will get one kid that people pleaser, believes the best in the world, and like sort of wants to be the little adult to make everything good between everyone, right? So I felt very in touch with that, and it really settled into place nicely with the way Katie was doing it on the day, and same with Michael. So yeah, that was really cool, and I thought it was fun that like on top of it, he's a fighter. So it was a role that I've never played before. It's just unique in a lot of different ways. So yeah,
Yeah,
It's
it is interesting how your character is like, because he's such a badass, but he's not
softy.
the tough guy. He's a bit like sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was happy about that because it is stereotypical to have like I'm the badass tough guy gonna be, and it just at some point it's just not realistic, right? So I liked that to be
Yeah,
able to this way.
and usually it's like the guy is that, but for this it was more a little more like my character is the
Yeah,
like I'm angry and like the black and white and like very a little bit more yeah
even
it
Jack
was
has sort
different.
of like in prison, I sort of have a bit of a meltdown, and you're the one that's like, all right, we got to figure this out, we got to do this, we got to do that. It's a very older sister, younger brother dynamic, in some regard.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'll say I was like, I really related to you, Leo, because I'm somebody who like I'm the people pleaser. I want everyone to get along. And so I play the median between all my family members. I'm like, you meant this and you meant this. But
Yep.
I'm so feisty. Like I was like, don't I'll get on a table and fight somebody. I don't care. I'm 5'2".
I'll
I'll
people
find a
please you,
way.
but I'll punch you.
I'll find a way. But it is cool to kind of see how sibling dynamics, no matter what, like there is always kind of this dynamic in siblings, and no matter what way you cut it. How did you guys though approach making that dynamic so specific to these two characters versus just like universally how siblings kind of end up?
It really worked. Like,
Yeah, I feel like it emerged when we did that rehearsal.
yeah,
Like to me, we had when we first met Michael, who plays our dad, we did a read through and we ended up improving, and it was actually really weird. I've never done that before where because it what we didn't set out to like this is what we're doing. It just turned into all of a sudden we're having these discussions in character, and it like turned into this family therapy session. And after that, like when we left that room, I was like, that's weird. But I was also like, understand the dynamic now. It's very clear, like who the dad's role and the way that my character viewed it, And it was very like, it just laid itself out exactly what the family dynamic was and where all the problems were. Like, it was like, oh, this is it. This is it.
It did. From that moment on, it felt very clear to me, and it felt very clear where my lane was, and I think vice versa, where everyone else's lane sort of lied in their role.
Yeah, and did having it kind of set in a prison, which, whenever you have a locked in space, it kind of changes the dynamic of how people interact because they are trapped and they have to figure out how to get out of a situation. Did it being a prison setting help you guys, or was it like daunting to know, like, okay, well, we're going to be in this space the majority of the time?
Well, I think for me, it sort of drove a little bit of Jack's, wanting to believe the best in people, because here I am locked in this prison and my only way out is through Max, like Max helping me. So I felt kind of willing to push the past aside, even though he might or might not be the reason we're in there, who knows? But I chose that lane, whereas I feel like Caity had a very opposite point of view of like, this guy's
Never forgive, never forget.
so yeah, being kind of put in that space, it does create conflict. And I was saying this earlier, but it was I didn't feel like I had to act a whole lot at all. There's a scene where I walk out into the prison yard for the first time, and on the day you get a bunch of inmates yelling in a language that I don't understand, standing over me. It's like, it's just very easy to just be scared because it was terrifying, so that was really cool.
And it was a real prison that we shot at. Yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be terrifying on my own. I'd be like, I've been to Alcatraz. I'm like, that's enough for me. I don't need to actually be in a prison ever again.
An abandoned penitentiary, yeah.
Nope, hate that.
Yep.
You guys are braver than I am. I can't wait for everyone to get to see the movie though. I think it's really fun, and thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.